Athena, what is the meaning of this? Barging into the room with a temper that could shake the skies, Anu, pantheon leader of Mesopotamia, shot a glare at Athena. Amaterasu was one thing, but Quetzalcoatl was a pantheon leader. Her dying by human hands is unacceptable. I was a fool to allow this tournament to go ahead, let alone for you to lead us. Calm down, daddy. Athena has totes got this. Cut us some slack. Quetzy was the dipshit who went and got herself killed. Inanna, what's your tone? It's Ishtar now? I changed it, remember? Besides, you don't need to worry about next round. It's in the bag for us. Who's fighting on our side? The loudmouth dragon guard. You don't mean... That is correct, Athena stated. The 6th representative of the guards is the Dragon King of the East Sea, Kuang. The result of the last match had left a sour mood in the air, and the crowds on both sides were less than excited for this next round. However, there was one section of the stands which was particularly pissed off. That's because these were the people who in life resided within the walls of the Kingdom of Camelot, and none of them were happy about the 6th representative of humanity, the one they all knew as the Corrupt King. To think that excuse of a king would show themselves here, Sir Percival, Knight of the Round Table, commented.
It should have been you up there, father, not this faker.
Sir Galahad, another Knight of the Round Table, snarled.
I'm not too sure.
Sir Lancelot, the greatest Knight of the Round Table, replied.
Sounds like this human isn't too popular.
A mischievous monkey laughed from atop a tower overlooking the arena.
Not unlike our own Dragon King. So I wonder, what makes this king of humans so disliked? Is it ego? Inability? Or are they just plain bad news?
Sorry for the wait, our resident Cerberus has confirmed that all radiation has been expelled from the ring, so we can now get round 6 of Sephnarok underway.
You shouldn't have bothered.
A booming voice echoed around the arena.
What little radiation do to the Dragon King?
All eyes turned to the God's Gate, but there was no god to be seen. That was to be expected, as such a small gateway was not fit for a king. In the flash of light and with a cloud of smoke, the side of the arena wall was blown to pieces, a silhouetted figure stepping out from amongst the debris. Could there be a more fitting entrance for this god? Born with the divine right to rule and the might of a tyrant, he later gained a dragon's heart and even more stupendous power. All those who question his right to rule are ripped asunder, and that heavens would always deem this justice. Can any human hope to stand up to his might? Of the Dragon King of the East Sea, Kuang.
Show them why I even acknowledge your throne.
Sun Wukong grinned.
So who is to be my opponent?
The muscle-bound Dragon King snarled as he walked to the centre of the arena, his colossal sword resting on his tattooed shoulder. That would of course be this man, the, excuse me, King of Camelot? You were meant to enter the arena now. Damn coward, Sir Percival spat. I should go down there and drag him out here myself. However, there was no need for Percival to go down there and do that, because another knight already had. Come on, Arthur, get your ass out of there! A man clad in full plate armour sighed as he forcefully threw a short, red-headed man out of the gate and into the arena.
Is this a joke?
Kuang asked.
Sorry, I get stage fright.
The man said as he pulled himself to his feet, dressed in a simple tunic and a ragged cloak. He certainly didn't give off the look of royalty, but that was exactly what he was. The Isle of Britain has been home to some of the greatest monarchs known to history. Richard Lionheart, Queen Victoria, Alfred the Great. But if only one king could be chosen, the choice is obvious. He ruled the Kingdom of Camelot with his trusty knights by his side, fighting with a holy sword to thwart evil and protect his people. If the legends of him are all true, he can be called nothing less than the mightiest of kings. He is Arthur Pendragon, King of Camelot. Wait, that's the legendary King Arthur? The crowd mumbled. Isn't he a little short? Never would have guessed he was a king looking like that. If that's the best these humans have, Kuang has this totes in the bag, Ishtar said. See, daddy, nothing to worry about. If Kuang loses, then your head is leaving your shoulders, Anu said as he turned his back on Athena and left the box. Back in the arena, Kuang stared directly down at the short king.
Are you really a king?
I used to be.
Arthur replied.
I was thrown off my throne, though.
A king used to their throne is no king in my book.
Alcong snarled.
You aren't even worthy of my time.
In a shocking development for everyone around, Alcong turned his back to Arthur.
Bring me a worthy challenge, then I will.
However, as quickly as he turned his back to Arthur, the Dragon King shot right back around. What was that feeling, he wondered? Did this punk actually make him scared for a second then? Excuse me, Mr. Dragon King, the announcer asked. Are you forfeiting still or what?
Forfeit? A king never runs from a battle. I'll take you on, human, even if in only title you are meant to be a king.
Well then, folks, it seems this fight is back on. Let round 6 commence. Dragon King and King of Camelot. Fight! It is said that a true king is not born from succession or lineage. Their right to rule is earned through suffering and glory, and it is hard to find a better description of the Dragon King than this. Having climbed up to the present, he had no intention of yielding even a single inch of progress, and so he took the initiative. With the drawing of his sword, Alcong engulfed the arena in turbulent winds. The dragon sword, you see, is said to be able to control the entirety of the Eastern Sea. That said, the legendary sword of King Arthur possesses even greater legends, bestowing on its wielder the right to rule all Britannia. It is possibly the most powerful sword in history, Excalibur. But to everyone's surprise, what Arthur drew to face the Dragon King was not the blade of legend. No, instead it was a simple copper sword, no more than 5 inches. Isn't he meant to have that caliber thing? Guess those were just legends. Can that puny stick even harm a guard? The crowd mumbled in apprehension. I see the history books have conned those that succeeded us, Percival commented.
To think that such a lousy king could be remembered as mighty. It's like a big joke.
Galahad added.
You draw such a pathetic weapon as if it is mighty. Do you want to mock me, or are you really trying your best?
Alcon growled.
Sorry, but this is the only weapon I have on me, so it'll have to do.
Arthur replied.
Then, this one quickly.
Bringing his sword down upon Arthur's head, the Dragon King expected a swift and bloody victory. However, that future did not come to pass, with Arthur Pendragon dodging the blade by a hair and sliding back towards the arena wall.
So, mockery is your aim. A king does not flee, they stand and fight!
With all due respect, I don't think my sword would have stayed in one piece if I'd blocked that swing of yours.
You say that as if you could.
I won't know unless I try, but I think I could.
Big words, human, but actions are what makes a king.
The winds picked up as if the arena was submerged in a violent storm, a side effect of the Dragon King's next attack.
Dragon's flood.
Arthur felt the fabric of his cloak tear as the mighty slash of Alcong missed his flesh by an inch.
Still you run, you are disgraced to the title of king.
Compared to one as strong as you, I may not seem worth much at all.
Arthur replied.
But if I am needed, I will do my utmost to try and do something.
With blinding speed that even left the Knights of the Round Table stunned, Arthur vanished. Appearing behind Alcong, the tip of his blade now dyed red with blood. To Alcong it felt like nothing more than a pinprick, but nevertheless this human had punctured his scales, and with that dingy sword no less.
Even a mosquito can draw blood from a warrior,
Alcong said, unimpressed.
But no warrior would ever lose to a bug.
Actually, a mosquito isn't a bug, you know, it's a type of fly. Alfred Russel Wallace commented. Arthur wiped the blood of his sword and stared right at his opponent, trying not to let his gaze wander. In truth, he wanted to look away. This hulking dragon man was downright terrifying. His legs were shaking, no, his entire body was, but he couldn't run away. Could he? It's not like anyone expected anything of him anyway. Without even thinking, his foot edged ever so slightly back, but the moment he did, an arrow flew past his head and plunged deep into the arena floor. Looking up sheepishly, Arthur saw exactly where the arrow had come from. Don't you dare think about running away, a woman with a bow in hand snapped. You heard her, a priest called out in agreement. Do we need to come down there and force you to fight? A knight sighed.
I don't have much of a choice, do I?
Arthur sighed as he pulled back his sword, and then like before he vanished. However, this time it wasn't a mosquito bite Alcong felt. No, it was like a swarm of angry bees. How was he so fast, the Dragon King thought as he tried to defend from the Human King's onslaught of attacks.
No matter. He can't attack if he got nowhere to attack from.
Alcong roared as he stomped down with enough force to crack apart the arena floor. Losing his footing for the briefest of moments, Arthur was forced to retreat, his arm grazed by the tip of Alcong's sword in the process.
So the mighty human king bleeds.
Alcong snarled as he watched Arthur jump backwards, clutching his arm.
Sorry, I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to pain.
Arthur replied.
It's but a scratch, but it hurts like no tomorrow.
Don't you worry. You won't see tomorrow.
Finally showing some speed of his own, Alcong closed the distance, whipping his sword around his head and then down with a heavy strike. Arthur dodged and tried to counter, but Alcong intercepted with an elbow that launched Arthur across the arena.
Is this really the best the legendary King Arthur can do? Isn't he meant to be some hero of legend?
Arthur pulled himself to his feet, clutching his chest with a pained expression.
That hurt, you know. Can't we settle this without violence?
How dare he? A young boy shouted from the stands. He could have refused to fight, but he had to come up here and show off anyway. You've doomed us all, you stupid king. The others in the crowd tried to calm the boy down, but soon others were raising their voices too. You didn't live under his rule. You don't know the truth of that pompous king. He probably paid to fight. He wanted to feed his ego by thinking he's some kind of hero. It shouldn't have been you, Arthur. Should have been the hero. The hero? Someone asked. He should have been our king, not you, the boy cried. The hero fought for the weak. He saved us from the evil dragon and brought peace to the lands. He's right. Why isn't the hero up there fighting? Arthur didn't do anything to save us. Soon the whole crowd was in an uproar, nearly all of them in agreement that Arthur shouldn't have been standing in the arena and that instead it should have been the hero.
Your people have forsaken you. You really are no king, are you?
He was a terrible king. I know that more than anyone. And I really don't think I can call myself a hero either. I don't think any of that matters.
And why is that? Terrible king who is no hero.
Because the only people in this arena right now are you and me. And if I don't defeat you, then who will?
You won't defeat me.
Probably. But as long as one person in that crowd wants me to save them, I will take you on, win or lose. I will save them.
In the woodlands of Britannia, not far from the mighty kingdom of Camelot, a knight in full plate mail swung his sword down, severing a beast's spine and driving the cold iron deep into the animal's flesh. You won't kill any more livestock now, you wretched beast, the knight said as he walked away from the decapitated wolf and into the nearby town. It wasn't the largest of settlements, and it wasn't overly well off either, but even so this village was under the protection of Camelot, and as a knight of the kingdom he had a duty to protect it. And spotting a dirty hooded man at the door of one of the houses, he intended to do just that. What is your business here, vagabond? The knight said as he held the iron of his blade to the back of the hooded man's neck. I won't stand for tramps harassing the people of this town. The hooded man said nothing in reply. So you don't even have any excuses to utter, scum like you truly. What's going on here? A woman exclaimed from behind the knight. No need for alarm, citizen. I've apprehended this filthy tramp. I'll take them into custody so they can't bother your community any further. Bother? No. He was helping me carry my shopping. Your shopping? That's when the knight noticed the bag of potatoes underneath the hooded man's arm. Removing his sword from the man's neck, the knight made an annoyed expression. Think about cleaning yourself up a bit. This will happen again if you keep dressing like a tramp. How rude, the woman said. Harassing a kind man just trying to help me carry my shopping. Why don't you go and do your job? Keeping you safe from tramps is my job. What about the wolf that's been attacking people in the woods north of town? Wouldn't hunting that be your job? Clearly annoyed by the woman's tone, the knight marched off towards the northern woods. If the pay wasn't so good, he wouldn't waste his time helping these peasants. They said it was just a wolf! The knight snapped as he felt warm blood pour out of his wounds and trickle down his sweat-soaked skin. Standing almost 2 meters at the shoulders with fangs as long as daggers, the beast the brave knight had tried to slay was no ordinary wolf. The knight's first attack had missed, and well, by not ending it with that first attack, he'd seemingly sealed his fate. This was not a beast any average knight could hope to take down, and with that reality sinking in, the knight turned and fled. In his mind he knew he could not escape the wolf, but what else was he to do? It was fight or flight, and he'd lost all will to fight. But as the knight turned on his heel, he saw something he never expected. Walking out of the tree line towards him was a dirty man shrouded in a cloak, his head hidden behind a hood. It was that tramp from before. A glimmer of hope had reached the knight as a devious smile spread across the man's face. While this tramp is being savaged, he might have time to escape, but before he could enact this plan, something else caught his eye. From beneath the cloak, a rusty copper sword emerged. Was this tramp intending to fight? All became clear a moment later, however, as the wolf growling up a storm pounced, but the beast's claws met empty air as the tramp with lightning speed slid underneath the lunging wolf, turning on his heel the moment he cleared the beast's tail and launching him up into the air. "I'm sorry for this, I'll make it as painless as I can." A faint voice could be heard as the tramp swung his sword down on the bare of the beast's neck, severing its head in one clean blow. The knight just watched transfixed on the now headless wolf. How did that tramp move like that? Only the Knights of the Round Table possess such ability. Who the hell was this tramp? And as if to answer his question, a gust of wind blew through the clearing, revealing a head of ginger locks from beneath the hood. "King Arthur?" the knight said in shock, but then he realised how insane what he just said sounded. How would that banished king who only knew luxury ever be able to move like that? But before he could give it any more thought, the man pulled his hood back up and wandered off into the depths of the forest, vanishing into the brush. But still the thought lingered. Could it really be him? King Arthur, you see, grew up within the protected walls of Camelot. Given all the luxuries Britannia could supply, he never went without. The finest of clothing, the most delicious of foods, there was not a single child in the entirety of Britannia more spoilt than Arthur. But once you have everything, that's it. At first Arthur was overjoyed by his lavish presents, but soon he grew bored of it. He wanted more, but there was nothing else. And so Arthur grew discontent, and from within the young boy boiled up emotions of ego, pride and arrogance. The only thing left for him to have was power, and so at the age of 9, Arthur paid a gang of bandits a hefty sum and had his parents, the king and queen, assassinated as they slept. In the kingdom where kingship was decided by succession, Arthur rose to the throne without impediment. Years later, the king heard legends of a sword in the stone, one that gave anyone who drew it the right to rule all of Britannia. And of course, wanting more, Arthur travelled to the sword and attempted to draw it from the stone. Yet, no matter how hard the young kid pulled, he could never retrieve the sword from the stone. As even more years passed, the kingdom began to fall into further and further ruin. Arthur was a poor king, one who prioritised his own wealth over the plights of the people, and so like a deck of cards collapsing, a series of events led to the collapse of his kingship. The catalyst being when Arthur walked in on his wife in bed with his head knight Sir Lancelot. To be cheated on by his own wife threw Arthur into a frenzy. He tried to attack Lancelot, but even if he boasted his skill, the king was a novice with the blade. He was defeated by Sir Lancelot and then driven out of his kingdom by his Knights of the Round Table. They could have killed him, they almost did, but to make Arthur live a life of poverty without any of his worldly possessions seemed far more fitting a punishment. That it was, to the point that after only 3 days, Arthur tried to take his own life, but forever a coward, he couldn't bring himself to do it. After a week on the brink of keeling over, he ventured to a village and demanded food, threatening the locals in the name of King Arthur, but before he could make good on his threat, he collapsed. Weak from days of walking and nothing to fill his stomach, Arthur could hardly grasp onto life. Lying there in the dirt for a single moment, he felt remorse for what he had done, before everything went black. But to Arthur's surprise, his eyes did open again. Lying atop straw with a blanket covering his body, he was in some kind of peasant's hovel. And as he sat up, placed down in front of him was a bowl of steaming porridge. Even though such food would before be below him, Arthur took no time to down the entire bowl. It was still so hot as to burn his throat going down, but he did not care. Only after having eaten every last morsel of food did Arthur look upon the man who had gifted him it in the first place. It was an older man, greying on the top with a long beard, one of the men he had threatened in the village.
Why would you give me food? Don't you know who I am?
Was all Arthur could utter as tears ran down his face, but the man had a simple reply. Because it made you smile.
Huh?
Just now, when you were eating, you had the biggest smile on your face, and making of a smile is what makes me smile. To this Arthur had no reply. He didn't get it at all. And so for the next few days, Arthur stayed with the man, regaining his strength little by little. On the 4th day, Arthur finally felt good enough to leave, and so when the man was out, made his departure. However, as he did, he heard a scream. Looking in the direction of the sound, he saw a frightening sight. A wolf pouncing upon the old man, its fangs bared and its claws outstretched. And before he knew what he was doing, Arthur was between the old man and the wolf. Using all the strength he could muster, Arthur punched and kicked at the wolf, but what could a spoiled brat like him hope to achieve? As he felt the wolf's teeth sink into his own flesh, he could only curse his own weakness. If he had let Lancelot actually train him, maybe this could have gone differently. But he never spared the time for it. But for a second time now, Arthur had been too accepting of death. As armed with farming equipment, the other villagers rushed in to help, fighting off the wolf together till it fled into the brush. "Thank you," the old man said as another man tended to his wounds. "If you hadn't stepped in when you did, I fear I wouldn't be here anymore." And then as the old man smiled, Arthur got it. Seeing that man smile made him feel something he'd never felt before. And so all he could do was smile back in turn. There wouldn't be many smiles for much longer, however. As darkness descended upon the land, the dragon god of chaos Tiamat and her army of dragons lay waste to Britannia, burning down all in their way. Many knights and warriors took up arms to fight off the hordes of reptilian beasts, but the dragons were too tough, and it looked as if humanity was to lose the war. But then they appeared, the 4 warriors who would come to be known as the Heroes' Party. George the Dragon Slayer, Robin the Eagle-Eyed Archer, Father William the Priest, and the Hero. Slaying dragons by the dozens on their way, this party travelled to the heart of Tiamat's domain and fought tirelessly for 7 days and nights. George ripped dragons to shreds with his sword, Robin drove them from the skies with well-placed arrows, and William healed his comrades with the power of faith. Each member of this party was so mighty they could easily have been considered for Sephnarok itself. But no matter how strong these 3 were, they all unanimously considered him to be their leader. The Hero. It is said the hero himself went 1v1 with the dragon god, using only a copper sword, but in the end he slew the dragon and returned peace to the land. This action is what earns them the name of the Heroes' Party. Yet even after saving the land, no one knew the true identity of the hero. He always hid his head under a hood and never showed his face, but rumours spread of his bright orange hair. Not that his true name really mattered, because even if it was known, he still would have been called nothing else but the Hero. In the arena though, only boos could be heard towards the one once heralded as a hero.
Do you hear this? This is what your people think of you. Our king doesn't have to be liked, but one who is openly mocked holds no sway over the people.
I stopped being a king long ago.
Arthur replied.
Now I'm just a guy with a sword who fights for what they think is right.
Right alone doesn't amount to anything. You need strength to enact it, and I am strong.
The whole arena shook as Alcong unleashed his next attack, an overhead swing that crashed into the arena floor, sending debris flying out in all directions. Arthur battered away the incoming debris with his sword, only to end up face to face with Alcong's knee. Taking the armoured knee right to the face, Arthur felt his nose compress and blood explode out from his nostrils.
You feel like paper,
Alcong stated as he brought his fist round and nailed Arthur in the side of the head. Like a bouncy ball, Arthur was slammed into the ground, his limp body flying up, only to be in prime cutting range for the dragon sword. However, before the blade could make contact, Arthur vanished.
That was even faster than before,
Alcong almost said before being slashed across the back of his neck by Arthur's sword. If his weapon wasn't mere copper, that attack may have ended the fight, but with a weapon as weak as that, Arthur's only path to victory was death by 1,000 cuts.
Your speed is impressive, but you don't pack much of a punch. Though, I'll have you know, I have fought those who are faster.
Our Kuang shouldn't underestimate that human.
A god cackled from the roof of the stadium.
Did he not watch my match? These humans are a lot stronger than they look.
Arthur isn't dealing any damage, is he?
William the priest said. He is just too much. Even against Tiamat it took him multiple days to finish the fight, George the Dragon Slayer sighed. It's because he only uses that stupid copper sword, Robin moaned. If he used a proper sword he might have won by now.
So it's a good weapon he is missing.
A god cackled from behind the trio. You're that monkey god from round 1, George observed.
Not the most noble of fellas.
Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, at your service. But is that true?
Arthur always refused a better weapon, says he doesn't like expensive things, Robin explained.
But if he was forced to use one?
He'd be magnitude stronger, George said plainly.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Sun Wukong grinned. Back in the arena, the exchanges between Arthur and Alcong were becoming more and more intense. Arthur was still landing hits, but they seemed to be getting even less effective. If this kept on, he didn't stand much of a chance at all. Up in the god's box, Athena watched over the fight with a troubled look. Kuang should have won by now. This human didn't even have a proper weapon. Her train of thought was swiftly broken by a voice from behind.
I have returned from my temporary leave of absence.
Supreme Ruler of Heaven, Athena greeted. I was so worried when you didn't make an appearance in round 1.
Insubordination from the Monkey King was to blame.
The Jade Empress stated.
This was the quickest commute I could manage. Transportation lines to the edge of the universe are not in plentiful supply.
Do you plan to fight now you have returned?
I missed my appointment, Athena. It would be unbecoming for me to take someone else's.
I mean, we still have an extra spot now, but sure, whatever.
Still, I find my blood pressure rising, watching that lizard in the ring.
You have a history of Kuang? Athena asked.
Very much so. However, it is a long story to relay in a casual conversation, so I shall type up a full report and send it to your residence.
Oh, okay, you do that. And well, to tell the truth, that is exactly what the Jade Emperor left to do. Though to tell another truth, Athena already knew about the past between these two gods. She just wanted the Jade Emperor to get lost. Long ago in the lands of China, all of the minor gods of the area gathered. Kai Shen, Chang'e, Dianmu, and many others. Barred from the dining halls of the highest of deities, these gods instead threw banquets of their own. However, as drunk and rowdy as these gods got, one of them was always the loudest. Gong, the god of the sea and storms, a raging alcoholic who always brought bouts of torrential rain to every banquet he attended. The other gods got angry at the sea god, but if they said anything they knew for sure he'd throw them through a mountain or two, so they kept their lips sealed. For centuries the gods would gather for these banquets, and each time the antics of the sea god would become greater and greater still. Huxian tried to file harassment charges against him, and Lei Gong attempted to have him removed for disorderly behaviour, but none of these minor gods could ever keep the prideful Kuang in check. As the sea god himself said, if you want to throw me out of this banquet, then do it yourself. But of course none of them had the confidence or the strength to do so. Well, for a long time that was true, but one day a new face appeared at the function.
Not seen you around before.
Kuang stated.
Consider this a noise complaint.
Noise complaint?
Kuang roared.
Those around shall be blessed by my mighty noise.
How unsightly.
I'll give you a chance to repent and call me the most awesome god of them all. Do that, and I won't kill you for that remark.
I won't be doing that, nor will I be dying by your hand. I will take my leave now, but if I am forced to return, then this won't end so civil.
Sounds like you want to die then.
Before Kuang could attack though, he felt a tug on his arm. It was his son, Bing.
Bing, why do you stop me?
Don't you know who that was, father?
I do not concern myself with those beneath me.
That was Nesher, god of public order. He's the apprentice working under the Jade Emperor himself.
So he is an intern for the Grey Man upstairs. Let him do his worst.
Those, it turns out, was something of a prophecy, because at the next banquet, one in which Kuang was even rowdier than before, Nesher did return, and it was on sight. The minor gods fled in all directions as Nesher and the forces of the heavens descended on the banquet. Kuang, drunk as a skunk, threw no care to his surroundings, and let loose with a mighty hurricane blast. Nesher, though, blessed with the Hao Jiangqing, sliced right through Kuang's wind and engulfed the sea god in flames. Creating a torrent of seawater to wash away the flames, Kuang drew his sword and entered into a close melee with Nesher. Not that he was close. Maybe due to his blood alcohol level, or maybe because he was just plain weaker. Whatever the case, Nesher effortlessly cut down Kuang, leaving the sea god a bloody mess on the floor.
Not so mighty after all. Typical of a minor god.
However, when Nesher went to deal the finishing blow, his fire-tipped spear met not the flesh of Kuang, but instead his kin.
Bing Roy!
Kuang roared as he watched his son dive in the way of the attack to protect his father, but Bing, already burnt away by the attack, could give his father no parting words.
My son! You killed my son!
A miscalculation on my part.
Nesher commented.
But perhaps this serves as a better punishment for you.
I'll kill you!
Maybe not enough punishment.
Then perhaps I can lend an idea. The thunderous beating of wings, the heat of a burning body, making landfall with scaly feet. The dragon god of chaos, Tiamat, had arrived.
I told you it was unnecessary to follow me.
Nessa said.
The meeting cannot start again with one of the major parties absent.
I came to speed up your cleanup job, Nessa, Tiamat growled, but I see now you are against killing this noisy neighbour.
He will suffer more living on as his son passes on.
Then why not make his suffering even greater?
By what method?
With a toothy grin, Tiamat reached out a claw and with a violent act, gouged out a chunk of flesh from their own chest. Feed that to him, Tiamat snarled. Nessa did as instructed, forcing the smouldering meat deep down Alkong's throat. And then it happened. The sea god's body expanded, his skin turned to scales, and grotesque bat-like wings exploded out of his back. It didn't take long to see what Alkong had become. He no longer bore the appearance of a god, he had become a dragon. For a god who took such glory in their divinity, there can't be much worse than being stripped of your divine body and rendered a simple beast.
Very well. His punishment shall be as such. Now, Tiamat, let us return to the meeting. The trade deal between the Ling Zhao and the Divine Paradise will be of great benefit to both sides.
When Alkong awoke, he was shocked to see his hand clawed and scaled. He was no longer a god, he'd become a reptilian monster. He'd always boasted of his divine perfect body, but now it was gone, and even worse, it was because he was too weak. He lost to another god, he was a failure, and so, too ashamed to let anyone else see his new hideous form, he retreated to a cave deep under the East Sea, and there he waited. Centuries passed until one day an old friend paid a visit, an impudent monkey who had once tried to steal from him, son Wukong.
Whoa, you had a real glow down.
Son Wukong said as he wandered into the cavern of the sea god.
Oh, it's you, the monkey that came to train with me.
I wouldn't call it training much. You just tried to punch me a lot. Not much of a teacher. Kind of a prick, actually.
So what? You've come to laugh at my hideous form?
Well, can't disagree on the hideous part. But I never took you as someone so vain.
I lost my godly body, monkey.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Look at me.
No, I mean, it's not like you changed bodies with a dragon. Did ya? Didn't you turn into one?
So what?
So, you know, ain't you still got a divine body? It's just kinda now looks like a dragon.
God or dragon, this body is still too weak.
What? Did Neza beat your ass that hard?
He killed my son.
Well, that'll do it. So what, you training down here for revenge or something?
Revenge does not make me laugh. I need to be strong for that.
Well, I must admit, you aren't that strong.
Even the monkey has passed me.
Well, duh. I am strong as hell now. You couldn't even lay a claw on me.
I may be weak, but don't insult me so harshly. Even in this day, I can still touch you.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure I can throw a rock into space.
Sounds like you've been having some pretty interesting days down here in this cave.
You mock me, monkey?
That's more like it. There's the angry old man I know.
One touch, once I lay a single claw on you, then you shall leave this cave and never come back.
So tag, huh? Sure, I'm game.
This is no game, monkey. If my claw does more than just touch, then that's not on me.
And after 10 hours of fighting, the sea god finally landed an attack.
Shit, that took longer than I thought. You really are out of shape.
Shut up. It's hard to use this body.
Excuses, excuses.
Alright then, let's go again. This time, I'll lay 2 claws on you.
This continued for many days to come, and by the end of the week, Alkong and Sun Wukong were trading blows with grins plastered on both of their faces. And as they fought more and more, and Alkong learnt to use his body with the same fidelity of his original, it happened. In the midst of a bout, as Sun Wukong went for an overhead attack, Alkong, reflectively dodging the attack, reverted back to his original form.
Whoa, shit. Did you just...
So, I could have done that all along.
Alkong huffed in annoyance.
Guess I was too arrogant to even try.
And just when you had gotten used to those dragon abilities of yours.
Who said I still can use them?
Alcon grinned as the skin on his arms turned back to scales and flames escaped between his lips.
Oh, I might need to try a little now.
Stop mucking around. Go all out, or you won't beat me.
Alright, if you're sure.
And well, yeah, he was, because the resulting fight between the two was so bombastic that it made the heavens make another noise complaint.
So being confined to that body did nothing to quiet you. Wait a minute. How are you back in that form? Tiamat's dragon thorn should have been permanent.
A little elbow grease and you can do anything.
Alcon grinned.
I find this new attitude of yours displeasing. I was wrong not to kill you. I will rectify that mistake post-haste.
Try it, errand boy. I know how strong you are. I know just how much stronger I have become.
Nezha, his spear alight, thrust at Alcon, hoping to skewer the noisy god in one. However, his spear was blocked by a clawed hand.
Shall we make this your final test? Beat Nezha and leave this cave.
I'll do more than just beat him.
Alcon roared as he planted a clawed fist into Nezha's face. As the god of public order fell backwards, Alcon unleashed a torrent of flames, using his control of the wind to funnel them into a twister of fire, scorching Nezha all over. Nezha tried to fight back, but before he could, Alcon grabbed both sides of the god's mouth, and in a gruesome display ripped Nezha clean in half, showering the cave floor in divine blood.
Gruesome. But I guess he had it coming.
Having ended the nagging neighbour once and for all, Alcon, now not just a sea god but a dragon god too, descended onto the banquet that he had not attended in centuries.
I will not apologize for how I used to behave. I will not bow my head to those weaker than me, but I will show you my change through my actions. I've earned the right to be proud, the right to stand above you, and so I shall prove why I am the king who stands above you lesser gods. And if you disagree and think this ego of mine is misplaced, well then, try and stand above me. I will meet all your challenges.
To think the one to challenge him would be a human, Athena commented as she watched the two kings duke it out in the arena below.
I'm growing tired of your running.
Alcon growled.
I will have to use an attack that you cannot dodge.
Coating his blade in a sheath of storm, Alcon let rip an enormous slash that Arthur had no hopes to dodge. Taking the attack head on, Arthur let out a pained howl.
So that is your way.
Alcon grinned as they let loose a flurry of wind slashes. However, in his excitement and his ego, Alcon had not paid much attention to the direction of his attacks, and so one stray slash did not meet its mark. Instead, it grazed the edge of the arena wall and ever so slightly cut the knee of a little girl sitting in the stands.
Impossible.
Alcon stated. Gone. Arthur was gone. His speed had increased yet again. Alcon readied his guard for the incoming attack, but none came. Arthur may have moved like lightning, but not to attack Alcon. He had instead rushed to the side of the sobbing little girl without a moment of indecision. Tearing off a piece of his cape, Arthur delicately wrapped it around the little girl's knee.
It's all right, little one. If you put on a brave face, then when this is all over, I'll go buy you some ice cream.
Only if it's mint choc, the girl said between sobs.
It's a promise.
Arthur grinned before jumping back into the arena, a new look of resolve on his face.
That speed, how can you?
Alcon couldn't finish his sentence as he just barely blocked the copper sword that was milliseconds away from slicing his throat.
Don't you dare hurt these people.
Arthur stated fiercely.
You may be a god, and I might just be a man, but none of that matters. All that matters is you and me right here, right now. I've slain dragons before, so I am not out of my depth.
You've slain dragons, but not gods.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Arthur said as they closed the distance between them and let loose a flurry of slashes. The cuts still weren't very deep, but Alcon could tell they were getting deeper. He needed to end this fast. Summoning wind around his arms and forming a fireball in his draconic jaws, Alcon let loose a fiery blast of heat.
Firestorm of the East!
Throwing his cloak in front of him to block the brunt of the blast, Arthur slid underneath the firestorm, flanking Alcon, and then with one mighty slash, cut off one of the Dragon King's horns. The crowd was stunned. With that puny sword, Arthur Pendragon had sliced off the horn of the mighty Alcon. In the stands, Lancelot gripped hard onto his seat, sweat dripping down his face. You let me win, didn't you? he shouted into the crowd. Without turning his head, Arthur replied,
People needed an enemy. As the former king, I had no choice but to become that enemy and unite the kingdom.
Lancelot, tears streaming down his face, could only utter 3 words. I knew it. 2 years had passed since Tiamat's defeat and peace had swept over Britannia. However, peace did not mean prosperity, and Camelot in particular was falling even further into ruin. After the escape of King Arthur, the head knight of the kingdom, Sir Lancelot, had ascended to the throne. But as great a warrior as he was, Lancelot was no king. He lost the trust of the people and as such their respect, and the reason was clear: his failure to honour the promise he made when he came to power.
I will find Arthur Pendragon and confirm his death.
Yet even after all these years, that justice never came, all until one day, as the people's unrest hit its peak, a red-headed man entered the city limits.
Oh, what a dump this place is. It was much better under my rule. The people might not have been happy, but at least they had a purpose. Serving me, that is.
He was back, and the people were fuming. However, when a mob started to form, Arthur drew a great and bejeweled sword, waving it at the crowd.
Want me to cut you all down? It would be an honor to be a test for my new sword, don't you think?
That honor will go to no one else but I.
Lancelot bellowed as he jumped down from the city walls in front of Arthur, and so the 2 men fought. At first, Lancelot assumed his victory would be swift. The Arthur he knew was a novice with the sword. However, that was no longer the case. At times, it felt like Arthur was pushing him back, but as a knight and as the king of Camelot, Lancelot could not back down. They crossed swords over and over until an opening emerged, one that at first glance seemed like a trap, but Lancelot couldn't afford to lose and so took it despite the risk. And to his relief, he landed his strike. With a deep gash across his chest, Arthur collapsed to the floor. Not even a second passed before 3 knights were atop him, pushing him hard against the cobbles. "What do we do, my liege?" one knight asked.
Take him away. He will be executed at the crack of dawn for his crimes against this kingdom.
And so as the sun peeked over the horizon, the executioner's axe was sharpened and Arthur's neck was forced down onto the block. The whole kingdom united in cheers. For the first time in recent memory, they all shared a common joy. And so with a heavy swing of the axe, Camelot's corrupt king was killed, his head still wet with tears falling down from the platform with a wet thud.
You died for Camelot.
Lancelot said as he stared down at the arena with tears in his eyes.
I was right to have pledged my allegiance to you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Arthur said as he held his sword ready for the next attack.
I am no king nor a hero. I'm just a man.
Oh, I agree.
A voice cackled from up high.
Darn monkey.
I heard you were without a good weapon, so I fetched you something.
Sun Wukong laughed as they jumped down into the arena between the 2 combatants.
How dare you interfere?
Alcon growled.
Don't worry, this is for your own good.
Wukong said as they placed something down in front of Arthur. It was a large chunk of mossy rock, and sticking out of the top of it was a sword still as shiny as the day it was forged.
I present to you
Excalibur. The sword I never pulled from the stone.
Give it one more try.
Wukong said as they jumped back out of the arena.
I can't imagine you or Kuang want to end this fight without giving it your all.
Will this weapon make you stronger?
I can't say for sure,
Arthur replied.
but yes.
Then draw that sword and try to vanquish me with all you have. As a king, I deserve at least that.
You heard the god draw that sword!
Lancelot shouted from the stands. Maybe I was too harsh on you, Percival added, so prove us wrong and draw that sword. You can do it, the injured girl cried. I want ice cream. It didn't take long for a chain reaction to occur, spreading through the crowd like a wildfire. These people needed saving, and that was all he needed. Gripping the handle of the shining sword he pulled. Now, normal human weapons for the most part are ineffective against the divine bodies of the gods. Sure, advanced death deliverers like the inventions of Oppenheimer could get the job done, but even the finest of normal armaments can at best scratch a god. But that begs the question, how did George Washington's axe harm Sun Wukong? It's not due to the axe itself being special in construction. No, the axe became special with time. It is a power beyond the comprehension of the gods, something that they lacked, the indomitable human spirit. A spirit so strong it can leave the body. When enough people believe in something, it becomes stronger. If not for the support of the American people, Washington's axe would not have been able to so effortlessly slice godly flesh. And the same was true for Excalibur. After centuries of people viewing it as a legendary sword, it became one. If enough people believe in the legend, it becomes real. And as such, this old sword left by some nameless man in a chunk of old rock evolved. It went from run-of-the-mill to extraordinary. And so as Arthur pulled the sword out from the stone, the legend so many believed in came true. The sword was for the first time pulled from the stone, and as the legend stated, now he who wields the sword is worthy of ruling all of Britannia.
He did it.
Lancelot cried.
He pulled the legendary sword from the stone.
My god, how do we miss such a talent?
Galahad said in shock. I can see now why history spoke so greatly of this hero now, Corrigi commented as he watched from a planet 3 galaxies away. The cheers from the crowd were deafening, to the point those in the god stand were getting worried. Is that sword really so mighty, brother? The horseman of the apocalypse Conquest asked. In all the wars I have observed, no such sword took my notice, the horseman of the apocalypse War replied. However, every weapon must claim glory for a first time.
Fancy looking sword.
Alcong laughed.
But is an upgrade in weapon enough?
That's right.
Alcong felt the killing intent before the attack even landed, and as such he should have been able to at least block the incoming attack, but he could not. That was just the immense power that the sword Excalibur held. Arthur appeared behind Alcong before anyone knew what had happened, and then a moment later blood exploded out from Alcong's chest. A wound stretching from his shoulder down to his hip opened up across the god's torso, a blow that almost cut the god clean in two.
Do we continue?
Arthur said.
Or is that the end of you?
That was a mighty attack, but don't pity me, boy.
Alcong roared.
I am the Dragon King of the East Sea. I do not bend to other, do not ask for help from other until I am dead. Do not presume to have best in me. I stand above others, that makes me qualified to be the king.
You're gonna give me PTSD.
Arthur whimpered as a large shadow was cast over him. Standing 5 times as tall as before with bat-like wings, a crocodilian snout and tufts of flaming fur, Alcong had transformed. No longer the shape of a man, his current appearance was that of a full... He looks like Shenron! Akira Toriyama, creator of the great manga Dragon Ball, exclaimed. The dragon god was not fond of assuming this form. Since he changed back for the first time, he'd only returned to it a handful of times, but as much as he hated to admit it, he needed his full draconic powers to keep fighting. That wound he just suffered was just too great. Without the regeneration and endurance of a dragon, he would have keeled over and died.
I don't have fond memories of dragons,
Arthur said.
Don't worry, you won't remember any of it for much longer. But take solace in that I will remember your bravery.
Swinging his tail around like a reptilian battering ram, Alcong sent Arthur flying. Having blocked with the flat of the sword, Arthur protected his body from the brunt of the blow and using the wall to push off, flew right back at Alcong. Knowing full well he couldn't block that sword, Alcong spat out a raging inferno at the incoming human. With his cape gone, Arthur could do nothing but grit his teeth and bear the brunt of the flames. He tried to keep his eyes open to look out for an incoming attack, but the fire was just too bright. And that cost him dearly. A claw punctured his leg at the same time the worst of the fire overtook the human king. The fire hurt like hell, but he'd faced dragon fire before. Swinging up with Excalibur, he cut the flames in two, and then bringing the sword back round, he sliced off the finger that had impaled him, freeing him from Alcong's clutches. As he landed, he felt pain surge up his injured leg. Fighting on this was going to be a challenge. So he'd just have to use his other leg instead. Launching off his one good leg, Arthur pulled back his sword. He'd behead the dragon here and now, or so he planned. But his attack was too transparent, and with just one leg to push off of, his speed was just too slow. Alcong span round, bringing his tail up like a whip. Arthur felt the wind be pushed out of his lungs as the end of the tail struck his chest with a bang. And then to follow up, Alcong brought his clawed fist up and smashed Arthur back into the side of the arena. Excalibur falling from his hand as he flew. With Excalibur out of reach and his leg throbbing with pain, Arthur couldn't do anything but accept he tried his best as Alcong's claws bared down on him with the intent to rip his body to shreds.
You fought well, human. You are indeed a king, but even a king had their better.
However, right before the claws could grip hold, Alcong stopped dead in his tracks, and then he reeled back in pain, clutching his head.
Going on.
Yo, what's going on? You alright down there?
Sun Wukong said. I'm feeling diabolically good, a voice said. From Alcong's lips those words had escaped, but everyone could tell this was not Ao Kuang speaking.
Who?
I'm conflicted. Do I curse you for killing me, or thank you for giving me a chance to return?
For killing you? No. It can't be.
Oh my god, I totally recognise that voice, Ishtar commented. It's Tina!
You're dead. I killed you.
Arthur said as he pulled himself to his feet and grabbed hold of Excalibur. Killed my main body, true, but I infused a small part of my flesh into this silly little sea god, and using his weakened body I've incarnated to this realm once again.
What's going on down there?
Lancelot asked.
What is that dragon talking about?
Do you not realise it yet? Robin said as she came to stand beside him. It seems they've returned, George scowled.
A most unfortunate situation.
William agreed. Dread me, retreat from me, try stand your ground with me. All actions are pointless before me. No one can escape chaos, and no one can escape Tiamat.
Now this really is giving me PTSD.
Arthur said as he looked up at the towering form of the original dragon god. With a toothy grin, Tiamat let out a guttural and deafening roar.
Is that how dragons say hello?
You have about 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Before all my children descend upon this arena, and rip all these humans you care so much about to shreds.
Why? This is a fight between you and me.
I don't care about this silly tournament and its rules. I just want to make the hero who killed me suffer. Watch as I massacre all the people he tries to protect. Sure, I could do it myself, but giving you hope and watching it slip away is all the more delectable.
I'll vanquish you before they come, and take down all those dragons.
Arthur declared. Don't worry about all that, Robin called from the stands. Leave the dragons to us, George agreed. Just focus on the big one, we got the small fry.
We have faith you will win here. So have faith we will win out there.
William said as the trio turned and ran off to face the scaly horde.
Thanks, guys.
Arthur said as his former party rushed off to face the incoming dragons. Such faith in your comrades will be your undoing, human, Tiamat bellowed.
Our faith in each other is what we humans do best. Not like a dragon could understand that.
No, all I understand is killing heroes. Letting loose a torrent of black flames, Tiamat took flight towards Arthur. Rolling to one side, he just about managed to grab hold of Excalibur, using it to cut the flames. However, these were no normal flames. Even after being cut, they still coiled and slivered as if alive.
Moving flames?
The wind powers of this body are quite useful indeed. I can control my flames with the wind, how crafty I am, Tiamat snarled. Arthur let out a howl of pain as the flames whipped back round and struck him from behind.
He's not going to last much longer with his leg like that,
Lancelot said through gritted teeth.
Is this the end of our king?
Wait, it's not over yet, Sir Percival said in shock. Arthur, using Excalibur as a crutch, pulled himself back onto his 2 feet. What can you hope to do, hero? Tiamat laughed.
All I can, because I have ice cream to buy for a little girl.
Lifting up Excalibur, Arthur took a step forward. His face spasmed, but he kept a smile on his face. The pain was horrendous, but it was nothing like the pain of getting his head lopped off. Compared to that, this was child's play. And so he took another step, and another. At some point the pain got so great it couldn't get any worse, and once he hit that point, and once he could bear it, the hero was back. Lunging at the dragon god, he let loose a powerful strike. Tiamat took flight to avoid it, but her wing was clipped by the attack, grounding the overgrown lizard.
Don't try flying off. Let's end this here. And now, Dragon God.
Outside the arena, the former members of the hero's party gathered. In the distance, beating wings could just about be seen. An army of dragons answering their master's call. Do you guys all remember how you met him? George said as he stared down the incoming army. That mountain of dead dragons outside, was that you? George the Dragon Slayer asked.
I didn't feel good doing it.
Arthur replied.
I really hate killing.
And yet you do it to save others, even in spite of how much it hurts you inside, George said.
If it's for the sake of someone's smile, then there isn't anything I won't do.
The stories are true. Would you like to save the world with me?
Ha! Our meeting wasn't so epic.
Is this church open? Or has everyone fled?
Arthur asked as he entered the ruins of what was once a chapel.
Yes, I am still here. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for holy water. It's meant to be good at dealing with dragon fire burns.
Sorry, I can't say that I have any to hand. But I can bless some water if you bring me some. Not that the blessing will last long.
It's a shame. We've got a long journey ahead and I was hoping to stock up.
A long journey. Where are your travels leading you?
To that big bad dragon who's making everyone sad. We're going to put a stop to it.
Those stories are boring, mine's still the most magical, Robin said.
Are you okay, young lady?
Arthur said as he cut open the bars of the iron cage, freeing the young woman from her captors. You're not another ruffian, are you? She said cautiously.
Sorry, do I look like that?
Arthur sobbed.
Try to be better and look less like a ruffian in the future.
We had some good times, didn't we? George grinned.
It was a journey of a lifetime.
William agreed. And look at us now, fighting dragons once again. Speaking of, Robin said as she pulled back her bow, here they come. The army of dragons had to number in the hundreds, if not more, but the hero's party had faced worst. Robin released a volley of arrows, thinning the herds, each arrow fired with such power that it could puncture straight through a dragon's heart. Flyers are so annoying, George sighed, always out of reach of my sword. Need a step up? Robin asked. Much appreciated, George grinned. Aiming lower than before, Robin let an extra long arrow loose. As it escaped from the bowstring, George raised his hand in the air, catching the arrow the moment it flew between his open fingers. Carried up into the air by the supersonic arrow, George was thrown into the midst of the dragon swarm. With a single slash he beheaded a dragon, the force of the slash sending 2 other dragons flying away. Another dragon, this one considerably larger than the last, appeared behind George, threatening to burn him to ash. However, before he got the chance, his head was blown apart by another arrow from Robin. Slashing 2 more dragons in two, George began to fall back down to earth. But before he lost too much altitude, Robin sent up another volley of arrows. Using them as footholds, George regained his altitude before mowing down even more dragons. As Robin focused on the dragons who were flying above George's range, a sneaky wyvern had crept up behind her, but before the shifty lizard could sink its claws into her, it was blocked by an invisible wall of air.
Ha! Not a fan of my barrier.
William the priest laughed.
Though I do wonder which god in that arena was the one to bestow me with this holy power.
The hero's party continued to cut down the dragon army, each of them smiling ear to ear, because they knew that behind them, their leader was in that arena once again saving humanity. Both the gods and humanity were on the edges of their seats, the hero of humanity versus the dragon god of chaos. The clash down in the arena was intense.
How much longer will you allow this to go on?
Sun Wukong snarled as he appeared behind Athena. What do you mean? It looks to me like we are winning, Athena replied.
It looks like my good friend has been taken over by another god. How is that not grounds for disqualification?
Since when were you one to follow rules, monkey god? Athena said. Your surprise appearance earlier wouldn't suggest you are a follower of the rules.
Well, my friend wasn't being used as a puppet back then.
Once Tiamat wins, you can do whatever you want. Kill them to take revenge or try bring Ao Kong back, I don't care. But you'll sit down and wait till that human is dead before interfering in this match again.
I really don't like you.
Sun Wukong sighed. I don't care what you think of me. As long as we win this tournament, you can think whatever you want. Besides, it looks like this match is ours. Down in the arena, Arthur was taking deep breaths. He'd landed several more slashes, but none were finishing moves. Even if he was pushing through the pain, his attacks were nowhere near as heavy as before. Come on, keep darting around like the insect you are, Tiamat laughed. Once you are dead, I'll hang your corpse on my wall to admire for eons to come.
I'd rather you didn't. But not much I can do once I'm dead.
Then get to dying, hero, Tiamat bellowed as she let loose a torrent of black flames. Too weak to dodge, Arthur for a moment considered giving up and just letting the flames hit him. Minchok! The child from before screamed.
Sorry, kid. I almost forgot.
Arthur said through gritted teeth as he ran forward, slicing up the flames as he closed the distance. Tiamat, seeing her flames were not impeding the hero's charge, whipped her tail round at him. Powering off his good leg, Arthur jumped the tail, plunged Excalibur deep into the side of the dragon god. Tiamat let out a scream of pain, as unknown to Arthur, the tip of his sword had struck the piece of Tiamat's original flesh that had laid dormant inside Ao Kong, aka Tiamat's soul. That hurt you! Tiamat looked down in shock. Her arm wouldn't move. No, was he...
Don't think you can take my body that easily.
Ao Kong's voice bellowed from the dragon's throat. No, not you. This is my body now. Taking advantage of the confusion, Arthur pulled back Excalibur, and this time brought it down on the back of the dragon, cutting a deep gash in the scaly hide. Tiamat tried to dodge, but her control over the body was now sluggish. Curse you, Ao Kong!
I'd rather be cut down here than let you roam wild in my body, you hag of a dragon. Oi, human, that place you just stabbed, that's where Tiamat's soul is. Destroy that and she'd be gone for good.
Arthur slid back, avoiding a flailing tail.
But won't you?
I already said it. Don't make me repeat myself. I'd rather die than let this old hag get her way. I will never allow anyone to suppress my ego ever again. So I will take pride in loathing to the great king who scarred me.
Arthur sighed, then raised Excalibur up, the blade shining like the sun, empowered by the hopes of all those who believed in him.
Go forth, my king!
Lancelot bellowed. Win so I can have my ice cream. Go, hero! Kill them, hero! Win, hero! Win,
Arthur!
Three voice shouted, loudest of all.
The dragons are dealt with. Now end this once and for all.
Do it now, while I still have some control.
Alcong shouted. Relinquish control, weakling! Tiamat spat, trying to force Alcong's spirit even further down. I thought you were fine losing to those who stand above you, or is your pride that weak?
If I had asked for help sooner, maybe I wouldn't have spent years moping around in that cave. It took a darn monkey trying to kick my behind to make me realize I can't do everything alone. There's no disgrace in asking for help when you can't do it alone. Having those I can rely on is my part, darn dragon. So, save me, hero. Rid my body of this parasitic dragon because I can't do it alone.
A warm smile spread across Arthur's face.
If it will make you smile, then there's nothing I won't do.
Charging forward in spite of his injuries, Arthur held Excalibur before him, ready to spear Tiamat's flesh right out of Alcong's body. Don't expect to win, hero! Tiamat shouted as they unleashed a dozen black fireballs to impede his charge. Weaving between the black flames and gaining ground by the moment, Arthur pulled the sword back for a mighty thrust. However, as he was about to unleash his thrust, Tiamat's tail slammed into his side. Alcong lost control for a single moment, but it was enough. Tiamat ran forward and speared Arthur through on the end of their claw. With a devilish look on their face, Tiamat raised the speared hero up to her face. Not so heroic now, are you? But Tiamat had forgot who she was facing. He was the hero. He vanquished evil, and he saves the good. With one mighty thrust, he speared Tiamat through with Excalibur, shattering the dragon god's soul. How did you get the right spot?
With a little help from a friend.
That was when Tiamat realised they had lost control of their other arm, and when they looked down, one clawed finger was pointing dead on the spot Arthur had impaled.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Arthur smiled. Tiamat, their control over the body fading away, dropped Arthur and stumbled back. I am the Lord of Chaos, Mother of all dragons! I won't die here! I will be back! I am Inescape! As Tiamat's soul faded into the aether, so did her scales, her wings and her claws. Alcong's body shrunk back down to how it had initially looked before he had been implanted with dragon's flesh, though the large scar across his chest remained.
Who stands above who in this situation isn't very clear.
Alcong stated as he ran a finger across his scar.
You're standing, and I'm down here, so that might be a clue.
Arthur said, tears in his eyes.
Thank you for freeing me from my curse.
Alcong said.
Did it make you smile?
Alcong grinned.
I am honored to have fought such a powerful king.
Then I'm happy to. But I'll tell you, it doesn't get better the second time round. It's cold, and it hurts so much.
There's nothing braver than facing that pain and still getting back up to fight again.
Alcong said as he knelt down beside Arthur.
That's a quality I am yet to possess, but you should take pride in that.
And then with a warm smile across his face, Alcong embraced Arthur's body, keeping it warm even after the life faded from the king's eyes. Up in the stands, the heroes' party held back their tears and smiled as wide as they could. They wouldn't let their hero see crying faces at the end. If their smiles could make him even a little happier in his death, then there was no question of what they should do. However, one man couldn't hold back his tears. Sobbing uncontrollably, Lancelot could only be comforted by the other knights of the Round Table. How wrong he had been about the man he called king.
I know a hero is meant to go out with a brave face, but I'm still just a man, and I'm scared of death so much.
You aren't just a man,
Alcong said.
You are a hero.
Victory goes to Alcong. The gods have won round 6 and taken the lead. A somber feeling spread over the arena. The humans didn't know what to think. He'd beat the evil dragon god, but lost the match. So many mixed emotions ran through every one of them, yet they all thought the same thing. Now that's a hero. Lancelot, tears in his eyes, stood up from his seat and walked off without a word. The other knights didn't know whether or not to follow, but decided it best to let their leader be alone. But they misjudged Sir Lancelot. He had not gone to cry or to shout. No, he had gone to fulfill a promise in the stead of his king.
Young lady, I am Sir Lancelot, loyal servant of King Arthur. In my king's stead. May I buy you that ice cream?
See, Daddy, nothing to worry about. God's sake.
Not that unlike our own Dragon King. Not unlike our own Dragon King. Come on, Eric. Get your head in the game. This is the first line!
Actually, a mosquito isn't a bug, you know, it's a type of fly. Alfred Russel Wallace commented. What the fuck was that?
Sounds like this human isn't too popular. Not that our own Dragon King... Dang it, I had it and then I stopped. Ah!